Well, hello everyone and happy Friday. Welcome to this Free For All Friday Pride of Dakota edition. I am Kelly Wald. I have the pleasure of working with Pride of Dakota in the Department of Agriculture. And with me in the studio is also Dana Hager, who is from the department. And on the board is Jim Walsh, making us sound wonderful as always. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Yay, Friday.
Yay.
It's here.
a little chilly out this morning.
It is.
I don't know why I was so cold today, but that temperature is definitely down
Yeah.
there.
Isn't that funny how a couple nice days in North Dakota, like, you
We
forget
think it
that
should be
it's
spring.
February and it should be cold?
I've been telling people that winter's over, so clearly I was wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And the bug is going around. My wife is home with a sore throat today.
Oh, well,
Which
hopefully
means I'll
she's...
probably get it in about 2 days.
Sure.
Right over the
Hopefully
weekend.
she's feeling better.
Oh, that's perfect. Yep.
Well, say if you want to listen to the show online or find replays of the podcast, you can visit the website, which is supertalk1270.com, or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/supertalk1270. Well, today we have with us in the studio Pride of Dakota member Jan Wangler, who is owner of Superior Glass here in Bismarck. We'll be chatting with her in just a bit, but before we do, we're going to talk a little bit about Pride of Dakota and what's going on at the Ag Department.
Absolutely. Do you want to start with what you have coming up in March?
Yeah,
You've got
absolutely.
A busy month coming up.
Yeah, March is, as some of you may know, Pride of Dakota month. We are celebrating 31 years as a program under the department. Yay!
31 years. 500 how many members later?
Crazy. It started back in 1985 with about 20 members, and now we're up over 500 companies. It continues to grow every year. So it's been I've been there about 3 years, and it's been very rewarding to work with such talented, innovative entrepreneurs, and it's a great program. So, we have Pride of Dakota month coming up in March. We're celebrating that. Part of that celebration, we do kind of a small showcase at the Capitol, actually.
Right.
On March 23rd, which is a Wednesday, we have our Pride of Dakota Day at the Capitol. And as part of that, you can come and shop from about 50 different Pride of Dakota companies from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. They're set up on the west end of the ground floor and then upstairs, like in legislative and memorial halls just outside the governor's office. So come by, do some shopping, try some yummy samples.
So, people who've been to a showcase before know that our Pride Dakota members come in kind of almost have a storefront for the day.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to sell their products and, like you said, sample some of their good treats that they make. And you said about 50 vendors?
Yep, there'll be about 50 there from 9 to 4, and there's no admission or anything, so
it's
just
open
stop
to
up
the
on your
public.
lunch break. Yeah, please come bring your friends. It's obviously it's not the scale of one of the showcases, but it's a great little snapshot of the variety of products that Pride of Dakota companies make. So.
And great way to get people into the Capitol building.
Yeah, stop. I know, like, so
don't
many
always
people have
have
been
a
in the state and
chance.
they go up to 17th and check out the view. Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff to see there.
And head over to the Heritage Center as well.
Absolutely.
They've completed their updated construction last year, and so it's been open for a while. But if you have not been to the Heritage Center or haven't brought your kids over there, you come shop at our show, swing over there and check out some of their exhibits. Great exhibits. You can spend a lot of time over there. They've got a fun little coffee shop and a little gift shop as well. So
Yeah.
you make a day of it.
Yeah. And so also coming up, Dana, you can talk a little bit about, we have National Ag Day, which we celebrate in March, and there's some fun stuff we do with that.
Right. So, well, I guess I'm going to kind of step back here. We talk agriculture. Every day is Ag Day at the Ag Department, right? Well, we definitely have different seasons we celebrate. National Ag Day is coming up, and we are going to be doing some fun stuff towards the end of March. Right now, we are currently in the kind of egg in the classroom cycle, which is crazy. We have some living egg classrooms that go on across the state, and typically they're geared towards fourth graders. And so if you have a fourth grade student or grandchild or somebody, Minot, Jamestown, Bismarck, Fargo, they put on these classes. So teachers can bring their classroom over and they learn from, anywhere from 10 to 15 different commodity groups that are there, teaching kids about agriculture and what they do. And the Ag Department has had a presence there the last several years. So you may go to the corn booth and learn about corn. You may go to the beef booth and learn a little bit more about beef. You come to the Department of Ag booth, and we really talk about agriculture as a whole in North Dakota, the diversity of agriculture. This year we really focused quite a bit on the technology that's involved in agriculture. So you get all these little fourth grade students sitting around, and you ask them what farming looked like 200 years ago. And we had a couple students so cute. They were like, "Oh, I bet everything was in black and white 200 years ago." So it's really fun to interact with these kids and kind of get their perspective on agriculture, and then to share with them, what agriculture is like today, and to really open their mind to look around them that agriculture is in fact involved in every part of their day.
Yeah, I know we kind of start out asking the kids, so how many of you think you're involved in agriculture? And if they don't live on a farm, they don't raise their hand.
Right.
And then we're like, well, did you guys have breakfast this morning? Oh, yeah. Are you wearing clothes right now? Oh, yeah. Guess what? We're all involved in agriculture.
It's really fun to see the light bulbs come on. So that's something that we're doing now. We just finished the Bismarck show, and we have Fargo coming up the beginning of March. And then we also do a poster and essay contest where we invite 4th and 8th grade students to invite their teachers to either do a poster or an essay about agriculture, submit them to us, and then the North Dakota Bankers Association has some awards that we give the students. And so that will be in March as well.
Awesome. So. And we also have a really
stuff.
great resource that we offer to teachers.
Right. And actually, teachers that are signed up to be on our Ag Mag listing, which is a little magazine that is put out, we do it 3 times a year. It goes to typically like the 4th graders, but it can be really beneficial in any class. I had an FFA teacher who said, I would have loved to use that even in my secondary FFA classes. Corn is coming out this week. They should be getting them. They're also available online if you have time and you want to get online. We have an Agriculture in the Classroom website that you can go to, or you can go to www.ag.ndsu.edu/agmag. So ag is in agriculture, ag.ndsu.edu/agmag. And you can find tons of great information on there.
Yeah, and they kind of pick like a different area of agriculture to focus on each issue.
Yeah, and we're hoping that kids take these home and teachers use them and they become something that just gets recycled and to siblings or other classes or other groups. So
yeah, they're very well done. They have a lot of great information in there, some fun activities, applicable facts students can use in their everyday life. So
absolutely.
Why don't you guys hang tight, and we will be back in just a few minutes with Jan Wangler.
Currently, it's 7 above.
Super Talk 1270, home of the Bismarck Bobcats and high school sports. Listen online or anywhere on the Radio Pup app. Super Talk 1270.
Well, welcome back to this Free For All Friday, Pride of Dakota edition. I'm Kelly Wald, and with me in the studio is Dana Hager. And we are super excited to introduce our very talented Pride of Dakota member, Jan Wangler, who is owner of Superior Glass located here in Bismarck. Hi, Jan. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Great to be here.
Thanks for joining us in the studio today.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So you have a company that works in or lots of different, you utilize glass, but you use it in so many different ways that people probably don't even think about, right? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got started down that path?
Oh, wow. I can go way back and say that I moved to Bismarck when I was in 1st grade and did all my schooling here, so I kind of consider myself a local. Married a gentleman from Napoleon, and he is actually my introduction to glass because he worked for a glass company for 24 years locally before we started our own business in 2001. I brought my experience from real estate, so I was a little bit more on the marketing end of things initially. But since he was in glass, he introduced me to it, as well as my brother-in-law in Colorado. And I'd taken some stained glass classes, and I was bit. Everything glass interested me from that point forward. I learned about the commercial and residential side from my husband and took the art glass part as far as I can take it to this point. It's been a blast.
So when you start dating somebody that's in the glass business, do you get glass? Like, is that a gift? Valentine's Day. Well, actually, your Valentine's Day is coming around the corner. I think, what do you get somebody that?
That's kind of funny because he made some glass furniture. actually,
kidding.
and
Furniture.
we still produce some of that at the shop. End tables, coffee tables,
Oh,
where
sure.
the legs and the top, everything is made out of glass. So it's a
Wow.
completely see-through thing, and it's quite attractive.
That's great. When my kids are out of the house, I'll be checking that out.
Lots of fun.
That's very cool. So, local Bismarck, you've done real estate, you've been around, and now you have your own company, and you've had your company how long?
We started in September. I will never forget that because it was right before 9/11. And I was actually traveling at the time. I left town to take my folks on a family trip back to Wisconsin, and when I came back, he had already left his other job and started this one before I even got back and knew what was going on.
Oh, gosh.
It was awesome. So a little bit of life change there in a
It's a
hurry.
leap of faith right there.
Exactly. And he needed the extra help for the office side of things, and not being able to juggle a new business, a new position, and the real estate. I gave up the real estate then and let my license go in 2003.
And
So
has it always been Superior Glass?
it has.
That's the name that you started with.
That's
and-
correct.
So why don't you kind of tell us a little bit? I know you talked about the stained glass and the art, the more artsy side of that, but then also like commercial. Can you tell us a little bit about the different, I guess, segments of your business from that respect, and kind of what you do in each of those?
Sure. Well, commercially, we do all the same things that the other, I'll call them big boys, big commercial places do. We do storefronts where we install the entrances and the like. We do automatic operators, which are the handicap buttons, and any door that opens automatically for you in a grocery store. We install those operators in those doors and service them, of course. We do glass walls, glass railings, those types of things that would be required for soundproofing or visual effects for an office and the like. We also, on the residential side, we do more repair than we do initial installation because the home builders obviously are going to do a lot of that. But, if something breaks down during your ownership, or your screen tears, or your patio door breaks, we have the ability and the talent to make those things like new again.
So if you, so screens even.
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't even think of
wouldn't have
calling
thought of that,
Superior
yeah.
Glass to get my screen. So my cat has clawed my screen now, and I need a
Exactly.
new screen. So how do you come to my house? Do I bring it to you? How does that work?
Well, screens are a little bit more portable, and so we usually have you bring them into the shop because taking the 3/4-ton van out to a location is a little more spendy than you walking in and dropping it off.
Sure.
And we can usually get it done for you in a day or two. So,
Wow, quick turnaround.
well, it's what we strive for. Does it happen every time? Absolutely
Right.
not. There's sometimes
Absolutely.
where things get busy, or if there's a hailstorm, it's going to be a little bit more of a
Right.
wait. But generally, the turnaround isn't too bad. And when you have cats or dogs or children even, we have a material that can be used to help prevent you having to bring it back for repairs, more often. A pet and child resistant screening is very strong. And, we've had a lot of success with it. In probably the last 12 years, we haven't received one back that's been repaired with that material. So,
Boy, that's
Wow.
good to know. That's definitely something to think about. How about emergency? Something just came through my window and it's 20 below. What do I do?
absolutely.
You can help me?
It's the part that you like and we don't, because it means somebody gets to go out when they didn't intend to. But yes, nights, weekends, emergency situations, even when we're not at the shop, we have a direct connect through our phone service to one of our techs so that you can get service and at least get things closed up while the repairs are made or materials are ordered.
Sure.
Okay.
That's
That's really cool.
Yeah, great service to provide everybody, and then to know that you guys are out there and to be able to contact you when those situations do arise.
Absolutely.
So have you ever been, probably, but like involved, when somebody decides they're going to build a home, like from the very beginning when they say, nope, I want Superior Glass to do all of our doors and windows, like kind of how does that process work, if somebody's building a home or if they're, working on blueprints right now?
Well, with building and remodeling, a lot of times our first contact will be through the contractor. And if they're looking for something special, obviously it's going to lean more towards the art glass side than, just a regular door or window from a building supply place. So like I said, our first contact is usually from the builder, and then the builder will introduce us to the homeowner. And then there's a whole series of events that happen to learn a little bit more about their lifestyle, their building or remodeling style, what they're looking for, and if we can kind of meld those things together for them to make it more attractive and a more beautiful place to live.
Sure.
Do you enjoy that type of work?
Oh, absolutely. It's a lot of fun.
I'm sure that like seeing a project come together and the windows and the glass and the decorative type of stuff is something that really makes the house, like your own.
Well, there's other things that can change the decor in a home as well that we could help with. We do mirrors of any shape and size. There are different colors of mirrors that people aren't always aware of. What we call clear is just the regular silver mirror that you see, but there's also a gray and a bronze, and there is stained glass mirrors that are available as well. And while they are not, the stained glass mirrors are not usually a practical application for, say, a bathroom or the like, they can be used as decorative pieces. So
to really give a pop or
absolutely
some special
That's
little
really cool.
feeling to a home. That's great. I've noticed that this is completely off, like kind of off topic here, but the way bathrooms used to be, you would come in and a lot of times there were medicine cabinets and things. But now when you look at bathrooms, like the mirror, a lot of times is really your focal point, and they seem like they're so different and so unique. And so, is that stuff that you see too, or do you?
Absolutely, and styles change obviously over the years. There was a big push for a while to have the mirror go completely from the cabinet up to the ceiling in a lot of bathrooms to make the room appear bigger when it's a smaller room. And now we also are drilling holes in mirrors so that the light fixtures can come right through them, or an outlet, or your light switch, or any number of devices you want used to hang from them, a toothbrush holder, anything. So, we have the ability to drill through all of those things, and it's a noisy.
Don't try
but
that at home, folks.
Exactly.
Do it on your own, right?
Gotta have the right tools.
So before we went on the air, you were talking a little bit. Maybe you still do, but you kind of got involved in like Parade of Homes stuff with the glass art.
I had a couple of contractors that contacted me to let's do 1 or 2 cabinet doors over above a desk in a new kitchen area so that we have some bling for the room. Or we have done transom windows, which are the ones that usually run horizontally above a door or a set of doors. Let's put some bling up there between the entrance and a library on a larger home or something to that effect. And, if you want to stand out or you want to do something a little bit different than your next door neighbor, that's an easy way to do it.
Yeah.
And is that all customized work then?
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
you work with the builder, or I guess the homeowner, to design, what you want in there, what you want it to look like, or colors.
That's true. And, even if they have existing windows, we can create an insert so that if they decide they're going to move somewhere and they want to use that as a decorative piece to hang in the new place they're going, or the like, we can just open the clips and take it out, and they can take it along.
Boy, that's a very interesting, because if you invest in something like this and you really have your heart poured into it, or it's really a piece of you, or it's what you identify as home, the ability to take that with you is just a wonderful thing. That's
You guys
very
have
neat.
thought of everything.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
So where do you get a lot of your inspiration for the pieces and the stained glass work that you do? Do you rely more on like the customer to say this is exactly what I want, or do you get people who say, I know, you're so talented, do you have ideas? What would you put here?
The majority of the time, they don't have ideas.
They just know they want
They
something?
assume that you'll have an entire plethora of things to look at and choose from. But most of what we do goes into someone's home, so it's not sitting at the shop to take a look at.
Right.
Sure.
Though there's choices to be made there.
Do you keep like a catalog, or kind of, this is what I've done in the past, these are pictures? Do you do stuff like that to
We
give
do.
people?
I have to
Kind of
admit
an
that I
idea.
don't always remember to take a photograph. So, yes, a cross-section, and we do have some samplings in our showroom as well.
Okay. Well, really quick before we step up for a break, Jen, do you want to tell listeners your guys' website? That's the word I'm looking for. Sorry, your website, so they could hop online and maybe take a look at some of the work that you do?
Absolutely. You can find us at www.superiorglassofbismarck.com.
Awesome. Well, in this, with goodness sakes, words, they're great, aren't they, when they come out of your mouth? Hang tight, folks. We'll be back in just a few minutes with Jan Wengler of Superior Glass, located right here in Bismarck.
Currently, it's 7 above.
Here's Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons on Super Talk 1270.
And thanks again for joining us for this Free For All Friday Pride of Dakota edition. With us in the studio today is Jan Wengler, very talented artist and owner of Superior Glass, located right here in Bismarck. Before the break, we were kind of talking a little bit about the specifics of your business and the different services and things that you guys offer. But Jan is just such a talented artist. I know you come to some of our Pride of Dakota shows and you have these beautiful pieces of work on display. Can you tell us a little bit, focusing more on the art side of things, what types of products you create?
Boy, the list is getting longer every year. And that's a lot of fun when you're passionate about something. You don't feel like you're ever going to work, and that makes the hours all worth it. We have a cross-section of decor items, like we had talked about mirrors and the like. The mirrors don't have to be a certain shape or size. They can be in a frame, and we can do glass mosaic over the top of them. We have basic Tiffany-style stained glass products as well, and glass-on-glass mosaics that you can see through that are similar to stained glass but have that mosaic effect. We can do them with mixed media, incorporating jewelry or bottle caps, or the bottles and glasses and things like we did at Broadway Grill and Tavern. So if you've ever seen that divider between the bar itself and the kitchen with all of the different cocktails and the like on that, that's a product out of our shop as well.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I went to your website just to make sure I had a little bit more information about you, and I clicked on your art, I don't know what you call it, art glass or something like that link, and that was the first thing I saw. Broadway Tavern downtown. They've been open a couple years now. Fabulous place to go eat.
Delicious.
Wonderful atmosphere. And when you walk in, there is this amazing piece of artwork. Like you said, it has glasses and bottles and
In the glass. You need to go see it if you have it. I think, and it's huge.
Yes.
It's not like this tiny little, it's like a giant piece of area.
That was tough for our techs, because each one of those 8x5 foot panels they weighed over 300 pounds apiece.
Oh my gosh.
So
Wow.
installing them was quite a challenge.
It's so fun to find the person behind that, because it really, truly, if you've been to Broadway Tavern, you won't forget that. And I remember walking in going, that's amazing. And now
Exactly
to
the
know,
effect we want.
and it worked, and now to know that you were the artist behind that is just, it's a really nice connection. I'm excited to go back and take a look at it now that I've
closer.
met you, and really exciting.
How the heck do you even do something like that, where you are incorporating mixed media in between pieces of glass?
Well, not all of them were in between. That was a process called glass-on-glass mosaic.
Okay.
So each piece of glass, each one of those 3,000 and some circles that were representing bubbles from the bubbly were applied separately. And so each one of them was cut and seamed and applied with different types of adhesive depending upon what the product was. Most of them were a clear silicone that is used for glass.
Okay.
So that you can see through it, so that you don't see it.
Right.
Well, and I know just before we came back from the break, we were talking a little bit about the process of how you go from concept to actually having this finished piece of artwork. Can you talk,
It doesn't
people
sound
have
like
no
it's really
ideas.
easy.
No.
Look, it's not like, I'm just going to do this. Okay, I'll have it for you tomorrow. So
This one was a whole lot of fun, because Steve and Carla, the owners down there, gave me a little bit of leash with this one. So we came up with general concepts, and they said go.
Cool.
And so, like I said, this was probably about 6-7 months out of my life that was totally worth it. And it was fun to get to use a little bit of creative expression, which you don't always get to do when someone has a preconceived idea of exactly this size and this shape and this color and this width and this height. And I didn't have to conform to that in this one, and that made it a little bit more free-flowing and a lot of fun. So I got to experiment with some things, and I belong to kind of a consortium of glass artists worldwide through Facebook. And we share ideas and concepts, and we critique each other, and we help each other grow.
Great.
And that's been just super uber valuable.
How'd you get involved in that group?
Well, you connect with one person and they connect you with a
networking.
whole bunch more. Exactly. Just like you would business-wise locally, we do it nationally or internationally.
Is glasswork something that's very popular?
Well, I think it kind of ebbs and flows with popularity. I think it was almost a lost art in some areas. It is coming back. Not so much just for churches anymore, although we have a couple of those on tap as well locally. Folks thought that it was something for only the uber elite folks out in the community, and you can go as small as a necklace or sunglasses. We have price points in our shop and studio that range from under $10 to over $1,500. So we always say there's something for everybody, because we're not just creating stained glass, we're also doing upcycled items that we've created out of old china and things that would
And you sell those
be,
in your shop?
Oh, yes, we do.
So if you haven't bought a Valentine's Day gift
No
yet,
doubt.
Yes, you
Where's
still have
your
today.
shop located?
We're over on East Broadway, 3323 East Broadway. So it's at the very east end of Broadway where it starts to curve north towards Rosser. So we're a little bit one of the hidden gems in Bismarck, but well worth the trip over there.
Cool, and perfect timing. And what are your store hours, like your shop or your main?
The main
shop
hours are from 7:30 in the morning till 5 Monday through Thursday, and then we're open until noon on Fridays. But we always say, or by special appointment, because this girl works a lot of weird hours in order to complete projects. And as long as we set it up ahead of time, I'm more than willing to meet with folks in the evening or weekends. But I don't try to make it a habit.
Sure. So if somebody walked into your store looking for a Valentine's Day gift, what are some things they would actually find like ready to go that they could pick out in your storefront?
Well, in addition to the blossoms that we make out of different pieces of china or antique pieces, and those always have one antique, unique, or collectible item in each one of them, so we try to make them special. We also have cup and saucer bird feeders. We have luminaries that we've made out of wine bottles so that you can hang lights in them, or candles. We also have patio torches that we've made from wine bottles. We have framed glass-on-glass mosaics. We have some that are where we've taken old, I'm not sure what they call them, trays from the inside of a microwave, and
yeah.
we've done glass work on those.
Oh, cool.
And we have some traditional stained glass items, though they usually are smaller because the big ones that we do leave the shop right away.
So you mentioned china and antiques in there. The stuff you have in your shop, obviously, you just go out and you find those little hidden treasures here or there.
We became grandparents last year for the first time, so and
congratulations.
they live. Thank you. They live in Minnesota, so I use every excuse I can to visit the grandkids.
I have to go work. I need china.
Exactly. We're on the road again.
So you go look for.
Yeah, we stop at the antique shops, antique malls, even some thrift stores now and then, and you'd be surprised what you can find. We go in looking for some really frilly type of plate or bowl and come out with a whole box of votive cups or something,
Right.
or something that we haven't seen in a long time, because a flower needs a pretty little center. And we try to make them so that they aren't just something for outside during the summer, that you can bring them in and put them on an easel, or you can even use them as a table centerpiece. So it's morphing a little bit, and we don't just glue a couple stacks of things together. Everyone is completely thought out, and we sometimes have to walk away from a piece for a day or two and come back and completely redo it, because we want it to be something that has personality and character, and
Sure.
it makes you smile when you look at it.
Have you had custom pieces like that? Like I'm thinking of a family that maybe the grandmother had this beautiful crystal, and they
More
want to
often than you
create.
think.
Do you? Yeah, because I'm like, that's what I'm thinking of. Because what do you do with that?
If you don't actually if you get china or something, or like a crystal bowl, and you don't actually use it,
But it has sentimental value for you.
Well, how many brides, June is coming up, how many brides do you know that actually put China on their list anymore as something that they want.
Right.
Almost no one. And Grandma had a set, and she gave it to Mom, and now Mom wants to give it to the daughter, and the daughter's like, what am I going to do with this? We eat off paper plates most of the time. So they've actually brought in sets to us, and we've created either the blossoms or something else where we've actually broken up some of the china and made things for folks so they have a memory piece of Grandma
That
or
is
Mom
great.
or Aunt Millie or whatever. And, you know, that way they have something to take with them that is something that they wanted, rather than it just in a box in the basement
Right.
or dusty in the back of a china hutch and never get used.
And if it is something like that, I suppose you could probably make some, you know, a piece for like the whole, all the
Family.
grandkids or
Yeah.
Exactly.
Boy, that's a really great idea. I love hearing about stuff like that.
Well, even when they come and see the blossoms at the shows or at the shop, they're a memory trigger for a lot of people. They'll say, oh, Grandma used to have that set. Oh, I have to have that one. You know, instead of something that they thought was going to match the outside of the house or whatever. And we do put glass outside. Yes, North Dakota is very forgiving. I've had mine outside well, I've been telling everybody at the shows that it's been 7 years, but we're going into year 8 now. And North Dakota has had hail in the last 8 years.
And it survived through.
Glass is strongest on its edge, so when it hits it on the edge, you know, we're not risking much breakage that way. And, you know, when you have bushes and shrubs and things that don't have a lot of flowers on them, it's an easy way to decorate that area and just give it some bling.
Yeah, well, and I know you had mentioned you make like teacup and saucer bird feeders. They're so cool. Like I just love them.
Oh, we had to add extra bling to that too, because the more color you have on any item outdoors that you want to attract birds to, the better.
Right.
And so we've had a lot of people that buy them for Mother's Day, and, you know, for a grandparent that's in a care facility or something, to put it outside their window to draw the birds in, and something cute to look at. And they're so easy to take care of.
That's
Yeah,
great.
and they're like
Good
mounted
ideas.
on a rod, like and you just
Correct.
stick them right in the ground. Yeah,
Great
very
gift
cool.
ideas. I hope everybody's listening and taking notes, and so they can sneak back and check things out.
Yes,
The hardest thing is knowing when to stop.
just decorate your whole yard, right? Great gifts for friends and neighbors, absolutely. But well, folks, hang tight. We are going to step out for just a couple minutes, and then we will be back.
Currently, it's 9 above.
The Red River Farm Network. Ag News is here on Super Talk 1270.
Well, thanks for hanging in there with us, folks, on this Free for All Friday, Pride of Dakota edition. We are just in the home stretch here with Pride of Dakota member Jan Wangler, who is owner of Superior Glass, located right here in Bismarck. And I'm going to tell you her website one more time. It's superiorglassofbismarck.com. Go on there and check it out. They have lots of great photos of just the wide variety of beautiful products they make. And then also, if you want to find a replay of today's podcast, you can visit the website supertalk1270.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/supertalk1270.
You got a lot of little. We're ready for the weekend, I think. Well, Jan, it has been great visiting with you, and talking a little bit more about some of your art glass and the things you've worked on. We talked about Broadway Grill and the beautiful piece you did in there, and some of the things in your showroom, some of the smaller pieces that people can walk away with as a gift. Are some wonderful things. Do you, just out of curiosity, do you have a favorite piece that you've worked on? Or maybe they're all your favorite, but if there's one that just really sticks out in your head?
Well, in addition to Broadway, as far as a commercial project, I created I'm trying to think of the size, probably by 1.5 feet by 3.5 feet tall version of the Little Mermaid that is in our shop. And we had a local cabinet maker, Bowl Cabinets, created a cabinet basically out of it so that we could put backlighting on it.
Oh, fun.
Because it was a favorite of my oldest daughter's. And, you know, I must have watched that movie with her. Oh, man. We burned up the VHS tape and we'd gone through the CDs.
Oh, fun.
Or DVDs, excuse me. Shows my techie age. But
So that's one of your favorite
oh, absolutely.
pieces. I suppose the memories associated with that.
Well, and it
everything.
was the first big one that I drew up myself and recreated, and so it kind of has become a signature piece at the shop.
Well, and I'm going to take a little side note here, Kelly, I hope. So it's really interesting you were talking about stained glass earlier and how kind of the process about how you kind of sketch it out, but then there's a computer program that helps you along, like once you get to a certain point.
Sure.
Can you just tell, I thought that was fascinating because I wouldn't have even thought of that. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, most architects know what I'm talking about because it's basically a CAD or a computer-aided drawing program. And it also lets me plug in different colors and types and brands of stained and textured glass into the finished product so that we can kind of get a rough idea of what things are going to look like. And granted, you can't make it quite as free-flowing or organic, I like to call it, as actually cutting the glass and putting the pieces in place. But it gives us a starting point so that we have a place to make changes from, especially when someone walks into your shop and says, well, we'd like some glass and we want to put it right here and we want it to have colors and we want some shape and size, but we really don't know what we're looking for. Can you help me? And though they might be one of the most challenging type of projects to do, they're usually some of the more rewarding ones because you can see the satisfaction on the faces of the customers and you can see their excitement during the process as it gets closer and they get to help choose colors and pick out the glass.
That's great. You know, it's fun. You were talking earlier. Every business owner, and you know, we work with tons of business owners at Pride Dakota, and I love talking to each of them because they all have their own little. This is what I go shopping for. This is what I do, or you know, like everybody has their own little thing that I would never think of. And it was so fun. Earlier, you were saying you were very excited because you get to go and buy glass coming up here. I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard anybody ever say that. But you actually will take a trip out of state,
yes,
and go pick out glass colors, textures,
all of those things. There are no fabricators of stained glass in our state, so. Clue to anybody that wants to start up a big factory. North Dakota's your place. But most of those big factories are on the coasts, obviously, and the big wholesale suppliers are in the bigger cities. We don't have that availability here. So I get a lot of my glass from New Jersey and from Denver. So Denver's a little bit closer to travel to when I actually visually need to see the glass before I buy it.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So, yes, road trip coming up.
Road trip to buy glass. Yeah. I've never said that, and I don't know if I ever will, but I'm glad that you're out there so I can have beautiful stained glass in my home.
Yes, you can call me a glass hoarder. It is allowed. I will wear that badge with pride.
Awesome. So, as a small business owner, what have been some of the most rewarding and also some of the most challenging experiences as you've learned and grown with that process?
Oh, the rewards are definitely the getting to know the customers and clients, first name basis. You add friends, just not, sales points. And that's a really big benefit. I think challenge-wise, for any small business, it's got to be employees.
Sure.
I mean, the search is always, whether the economic times are boom or bust, it's tough to find folks that want a career and not just a paycheck or, a place to occupy their time so that they're held accountable. But we've got just an outstanding group that, they have really serving hearts and their goal is to not just do a job but to do it well. Mm-hmm. So we've been really fortunate, and because we're pretty connected family-wise, my secretary assistant extraordinaire, Lisa, is my sister-in-law, and our lead tech is our nephew, Josh. We have another amazing tech, Jim, that has brought lots of experience and talent from his prior employer, and my new protege is my really good friend, Juanita. So we're very connected there, and we share that with our customers and clients when they come in. But we have those challenges as well that everybody nationally have with the healthcare issues and how many benefits are expected, how many are required in order to get or keep quality or high caliber employees. And I we started our business with $1,100 out of our savings account and just hit the ground running, and we stumbled and we fell and we picked ourselves back up and just kept working on it.
I suppose learn lessons as you go, and
Oh, absolutely.
keep the good people close to you.
And it never hurts to be on good terms with your competitors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've tried to share with them and learn from them and keep the doors of communication open instead of being adversarial, because it helps you all the way along.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And a lot of times, especially, you know, with our Pride Dakota companies, you hear people that we learn a lot from each other, and
Yes.
it's not so much that we're in competition with each other, but we use each other to learn from each other and to make our businesses better, and to make everybody around us better. So it's nice to hear that coming from another small business owner.
Do you guys make use of any like social media outlets, or like Facebook or Twitter or anything like that, to promote your business and the artwork that you do?
Well, being technologically challenged as I am, Facebook has been my only soiree into that type of media. But
I can create the most beautiful piece of artwork you've ever seen, but Facebook, I don't know.
on Facebook, we usually share just our past accomplishments,
Oh,
so
great,
that we
yeah.
can share with folks what it is we do and where to connect with us. And we do have people that get a hold of us and ask questions about
Through your Facebook account?
through our Facebook account, and also through our website. We do have ways to contact us through those as well. But then we can also share that on our personal pages and try to reach out and get more. I haven't been a twit, is that what they call them? A tweeter?
Been on Twitter, yep.
I'm almost afraid. It's one more thing that consumes your time.
Yeah. Well, we talk about social media a lot with Pride Dakota and a lot of Pride Dakota companies. And, the one thing, if you don't have a lot of time, find one that works for you and work one.
Right.
Don't
Yes.
try to get your fingers involved in everything.
Because you'll do a poor
job at all of them.
managing all
Yeah.
of those.
So don't worry if you're not tweeting yet. You're just fine. Yeah, people can find you on Facebook. That is just a perfect place to go and connect with you.
It's more of a visual art, so it is tough. It's tough to see our stuff here on radio, but hopefully we're describing it in a way that makes you at least curious.
Yeah.
Well, and it's such a unique art form, I guess. It's something that you just don't see a lot of. But when you do see it, like the Broadway grill in people's homes, that, like you said, those special windows here or there, it sticks with you. It stays in your mind.
So, Jan, if people are interested in learning, more about your business, what are like a phone number and email address they could find you at?
All right, you can find us locally here at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck. You can reach us at 258-5600, and superiorglassofbismarck.com is our website.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Jan, for joining us in the studio. To all the rest of you cool cats hanging out there, happy Friday. Hope you have a good weekend, and join us in about 4 weeks when we are back here for our next Free For All Friday Pride of Dakota edition.